hate this here with all the ice on in the booth. At the gate outside, when they pull up, they give me loose. Yeah, jump out, boys, that's Nike boys out in the booth. This shit way too big, when we pull up, give me the loot. Was off the Remy, had up at Post. Had to hit my old town to duck the news. 2-4 hour lockdown, in the mood. Now it's no man, I'm back up popping with the crew. I just landed in, Chase B mixes pop like Jamba Joe's.
Okay, so I'm gonna start this video on a little bit of a tangent, but bear with me, I swear there's a point. Somewhere. Realism is a common buzzword in video games, especially in shooter or war games, because it's thrown around a lot, but it doesn't really mean much. Back when Battlefield 3 came out, I would hear grown-ass man saying it was way better than Call of Duty because it's way more realistic. High schooler me was like, yeah, there's like tanks and planes and stuff, like in real life, right? It's so realistic, you cod kiddies wouldn't understand. And you know, it's Battlefield. Nobody would play an actual realistic war video game because it would be extremely boring, and you can take my certified gamer word for it. But that's a big conversation, not in the scope of this video. The context I'm trying to set here is that realistic does not equal good, but it does have an appeal to a certain audience. Think of a movie if it helps. You can have flying superheroes, space magic, firefights that look nothing like the real thing. It doesn't make the piece any less entertaining, but in some cases the authenticity might enrich the experience for that special audience. But even then, there are compromises and artistic freedoms, taken for the sake of entertainment. In the end, all that matters is if the game is fun and rewarding to waste your limited time on this earth on. That said, Escape from Tarkov does set itself apart with its level of authenticity. You got gun building, gear customization, different bullets, detailed external and terminal ballistics, on top of a hardcore premise where you die and lose all your progress in the match. Just like real life. Characteristics which do not objectively make the game good, but have an appeal for a certain audience. But still, there are plenty of aspects with vast artistic freedom in the game. If you want a cheap example, here, look at this. Dude gets blasted by a shotgun point blank, he just pops some pills, run off like an absolute madman. Literally unplayable garbage. In real life, your sudden absence of a femoral artery would result in a severe case of not alive. If people were to die or become incapacitated by a single high-caliber shot to the leg, this would be a completely different game. Most of you would agree, it wouldn't really fit well. Now that we're on the same page about the context of realism and balanced mechanics in video games, you'll understand why I'm so surprised that the mechanic I'm about to elaborate on is completely absent from the game, because it's fundamental both for the realism this game aims for, and as a balancing mechanic in most shooter games I can think of. Fucking Christ, you're gonna get to the point already. Now some of you who play other shooters might have noticed that Tarkov's movement from a third-person perspective looks laggy. Like, people kind of zip around. They're way harder to keep a good track of than in most other games like this. And not from a technical or animation perspective, the animations look pretty good. I'm talking about the movement itself, how your character dislocates through time and space. But don't get me wrong, I'm not just here to complain. I'm here to just hopefully shine a new light on the subject. I love Tarkov and I don't doubt for a second the competence and dedication of Nikita and his team. If anything, they probably need a vacation, evident in the fact that Nikita looks like he's on the verge of a mental breakdown every time he's on screen.
He will say like, "Where is my thing case, you bastard?"
We'll be.
So yeah, I don't mean to put more pressure on the boys, you know? It's good to take note that the game runs at a way lower frame rate than most games, the good PC pushing 60 FPS compared to 300 in the CSGO or Valorant, 100 something PUBG or COD, so naturally it does look less fluid, but I'm here to tell you that's not even half the story. This is due to a severe absence of inertia. By any chance you slept through that class in high school, here's a quick physics lesson for you. Inertia is just a property of matter by which it continues its existing state of rest or uniform motion is a straight line unless that state is changed by an external force. So if you're standing still, you'll stay that way until some force causes you to accelerate or gain speed. When the force stops, you'll stop gaining speed, but you won't lose your speed until another force comes in and decelerates you. Simple stuff. What does this have to do with Tarkov? The reason movement feels weird is because there is no noticeable inertia in the game. When you're moving in real life and you suddenly change direction, pay close attention to what the motion looks like. There's a deceleration period, a moment of full stop, and an acceleration period in the other direction. As I mentioned previously, most shooter games implement this in one way or another, even if the animations look like a video game rather than how a real person would move. The movement itself looks fluid because it respects these 3 moments of deceleration, stop, then acceleration. In Tarkov, however, you will notice people are either at full speed or completely stopped. That goes for both walking and sprinting. Here's a comparison between me in real life, a video game with a good grip on this mechanic, and EFT. Notice how you can see the 3 steps and change in direction on the first 2, but in Tarkov, you go from full speed in one direction to full speed in the other instantly. Change in direction in this game is so fast that it's violently abusable. Abusing it becomes the best approach for almost anything, like surviving ambushes you probably shouldn't, getting free information, or getting the upper hand in any firefight. As you put time into it, you get used to things being the way they are, and at a higher level, understanding how to abuse the movement becomes a core principle of gameplay. Since your character can move in such an unnatural way, you can make yourself unreasonably hard to hit. If you look at some of the best players, such as myself, of course, I swear I'm like really good at this game, like the best. You should subscribe here, hit the bell, and go follow me on twitch.tv/mashcockchicken. Look at this clip, see how I clip his head right off? I'm so good, please. Thank you. Follow me on twitch.tv/mashcockchicken. Or other streamers such as Clean, Landmark, or in my opinion the most movement efficient of all of them, Quattro Ace. Anyway, you'll notice how extremely frantic the movement looks with non-stop strafing, sprinting all the time, zipping around everywhere. Like I said before, it's pretty obvious how far from reality this is, but in my opinion it doesn't really feel good as a game mechanic either. And notice how this one aspect of the game snowballs into other aspects. Metaguns are metaguns, objectively leagues above those filthy non-metaguns, because a ridiculously precise and uninterrupted stream of bullets is the only reliable way to hit such an unpredictable target. And if you want to look at it from the realism perspective, rate of fire and magazine capacity rarely have such a crucial impact on an operator's weapon of choice. So, what's the conclusion of all this? Firefights at a higher level are basically 2 dudes with laser beams holding down mouse 1 while spamming AD. And another sad aspect for me is that it takes a lot of the mechanical skill out of the equation. All you have to do is buy a high rate of fire gun with a large mag and you never have to aim again. You even kinda can when you're strafing side to side. Like you should be. So counterintuitively, this hardcore realistic game, when taken to its logical conclusion, becomes almost more Call of Duty than Call of Duty. So back to the context I laid out before, that's not objectively a bad thing. I'm sure a lot of people like the movement the way it is, and it would work great for some games. But I'm sure most of you will agree that it doesn't really fit into this game. I like people bunny hopping and sliding around like they're on rollerblades in CSGO because it feels like CSGO. Just like I'm okay with people zooming past me at the speed of a fucking F1 car in Call of Duty because it feels like Call of Duty. This game from Tarkov though, it just feels out of place. It's kind of a boner kill to have the game feel so gritty and hardcore in most aspects, only for the actual firefights to play out so arcadey, so video game. Well, that's about it. What do you think? Do you agree with me, or do you think the game's fine the way it is? Do you think there are other mechanics that need an overhaul, or do you think they should just focus on adding more content like maps? Also, feel free to give me some feedback on the video, send some suggestions, or just send general hate mail my way. Tell me my mom's a hoe, call me racial slurs. Just leave it in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button, it really helps. Thanks for watching, have a good time, my friend.